American Panel. He was part of the Obama campaign media team. Democratic strategist Steve Murphy is here. She's a columnist for Newsmax and the author of a great book called Outnumbered. Go get it. Jedediah Bila joins us, and he is Don Imus's longtime radio producer and survived it somehow. Bernard McGurk is back with us. Great to see you guys.
Nice to see
Thanks
you.
for being here. All right, let's start with the state of the Republican race. We have some seesawing in the polls. Mitt Romney now looks like he's experiencing yet another surge, at least in Florida. That primary is on Tuesday. Jedediah, Rick Santorum said today he intends to stay in this race, certainly through Florida and for the foreseeable future. But basically, we have a two-man, four-man race right now.
I'm really happy to see Santorum stay in the race. I have to be honest. I have a hard time understanding why conservatives haven't latched onto him more. He is a solid conservative. He does really well in debates. I think part of it is a delivery problem. Sometimes he seems frustrated when he doesn't need to. I think he's frustrated with the Obama administration, and sometimes it comes off that he's just plain frustrated. Tonight I saw a little bit of the debate. I thought he hit some major points home. But once again, he looked a little agitated with the moderators. I think if he can tweak his delivery a little bit, he may have a shot to pull some weight with conservatives.
And Steve, what do you think? I mean, do you think that Santorum, and you're coming at this from a Democrat's perspective, but do you think that Santorum really has to outperform in Florida to continue?
Well, I think he'd have to win in Florida to continue. But I think he is...
Why? Because you're talking about money and organization going forward.
Yeah.
Romney's going to have to lose in Florida in order for this to continue. If Romney wins in Florida, it's over within a couple of weeks. The Republican Party clearly is not in love with Romney, just like the rest of America is not in love with him. You know, the Wall Street Journal polls show today he's got really bad numbers with independents. I think this whole thing has been absolutely pathetic. Santorum's a good example. You have people at a debate booing a gay soldier, cheering the idea of letting sick people die. Santorum says that gays...
That's not what
Santorum said... Let me just finish this. Santorum said that gays are destroying the fabric of America.
America
has the American family, excuse me, the fabric of the American family, and America has moved way beyond that, which is why he has fallen flat.
This is the problem, that you constantly have people like a Santorum being painted as an extremist. He can't open his mouth.
He is an extremist. He is a bigot
because of his beliefs. So he is a bigot. The liberal is supposedly the party of intolerance. They're the most intolerant people. A guy can't have a belief, but he's a bigot.
No, he can't believe that gays are destroying the American family. That's bigotry.
It is.
That homosexuality is
he certainly is.
That's what he believes. And
no, he is not anti-gay. He talks about the importance of the family, how central it is, not just to our culture, but also to the economy. Because when the family unit breaks down, then it has a cascading effect through the economy, where people end up getting, especially women, end up getting dependent on the government.
How do people marrying break down the family?
He's entitled to his beliefs, and that's another. I was going to analogize all this to the NFL. He is the Tim Tebow of the field. Ron Paul is like Brett Favre. He's in, he's out, he's old. People love him, people hate him. Mitt Romney is the Tom Brady of the Republican field, and Newt Gingrich is the Ben Roethlisberger. Why the hell anybody would want Ben Roethlisberger as the face of their party or the NFL when you could have Tom Brady or Mitt Romney? It boggles my mind.
Bernard, I'm a Tebow fan. When did he ever say anything bad about gays?
I'm not saying he did, but inherent in his Christian beliefs, he believes that homosexuality is a sin. People infer that, so they hate him. That's part of the reason why.
Big difference between that and a politician attacking gays.
Supporting traditional marriage does not mean you're anti-gay. There's a very big distinction between them.
It does when you say that gays are like bestiality.
And he never said that.
Also, Monica, important to mention, Santorum was the only one, when everyone was going after Romney on Bain Capital, which I thought was a bad idea, he was the only one who stepped back and said, no, I'm not going to take part in this. Good for him.
Yes, and I'm surprised he hasn't gained more traction, but we should see in Florida. Okay, guys, please stand by. We've got more with our Great American Panel right after the break. Sit tight. And we continue now with our Great American Panel. Okay, let's turn our attention to somebody who was sitting in the First Lady's box during the State of the Union address, Warren Buffett's secretary. Now, it's amazing that we've finally seen who this person is. I mean, my imagination was running wild. I was picturing like a hairy guy named Murray as the secretary because nobody ever saw this woman. All right, so now we see the woman. She's now the face of class warfare because Obama's talking about the Buffett rule and millionaires and billionaires like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, I think, is on everybody's last nerve. At least he's on my last nerve because of the hypocrisy, saying that at least people in his income bracket should be paying more. Nothing is stopping this guy, Bernie, from taking out his checkbook and writing a check for $10 billion to the Treasury, which he would not feel, and yet he refuses to do it.
Put your money where your mouth is. And, yeah, to use her as a prop last night, she's no more a secretary getting coffee and taking dictation than Jacob Lew is going to be Obama's chief of staff, then he's going to be the coffee boy for President Obama. No more.
He might be.
It's more sneaky, deceitful hypocrisy on their part. I mean, the fundamental argument is that, obviously, is that the capital gains taxes, that it's about job creation, it's about growth, and about them portraying the conservatives as being unfair and favoring the rich. And it's deceitful, dishonest. And you're right to be.
And yet, Jedediah, this is what he's done throughout his administration: is pit groups against each other, do wealth redistribution, whether it's through socialized medicine or through the tax code. But here we have a woman, and Forbes today estimated that she is making, and God bless her, nobody begrudges her salary, but making between $200,000 and $500,000 a year. She's certainly the 1%.
I know. I love the way they painted her as a victim, and then they had these shots of her just nodding, like as if she was. I mean, the woman's living much better than I am. I'm living in a studio apartment in Manhattan, and I'm not talking class warfare, so she shouldn't be talking it either. It's a talking point. He's going to do this throughout the campaign. He's going to try to appeal to the middle class, like he's a champion of the middle class, all the while most of those people are out of work because of him. That's his MO.
Steve, try to defend the whole class warfare thing.
Absolutely. It's not class warfare. The only class warfare that's going on right now is the privileged taking advantage of the middle class. That's exactly what you're talking about here. Nobody's saying this lady is poor.
How in God's name
they pay
are the
lower
wealthier
taxes.
taking advantage of the middle class?
He's got his Cayman Islands, he's got his Swiss bank accounts, and he pays a 15% rate, and that's the same rate that a lower middle class family pays in this country.
But you do understand the difference. This is apples and oranges, right? That when you pay on salary, when you're paying on income as salary, you're paying a higher rate than income as capital gain.
In Mitt Romney's case, it's carried interest. It is the hedge fund loophole. You can get the long-term capital gains treatment for short-term investments when you use that loophole. That's half his income. In this case, it's nothing but essentially legal tax cheating.
Tax cheating. It's perfectly legal. Do you know anybody, Steve, anybody, including yourself, who actually pays more to the federal government than what their accountant tells them they owe?
No, of course not.
Exactly right.
Except for one thing about Warren
Buffett.
Why
do you think that is?
You have wrong. He has every bit of his money committed to charity when he dies.
Yes, and why do you think that is? Exactly making my point. He has transferred his massive fortune to a private sector charity, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, because he doesn't trust the government with his money.
Yeah.
He wants to pay.
So why should any of us?
He is more than willing to pay a higher tax rate because that is what would be fair.
Do it now.
If you want to run on wealthy people paying lower taxes than the middle class,
everyone paying lower
at
taxes.
it from now till November.
Let's run on everyone paying lower taxes.
Democrats are winning in the polls on taxes.
Stop overspending. Everyone pays lower taxes. No class warfare, no pitting one American against another. That's a message of unity, not a message of division.
Everyone is not going to pay lower taxes with this debt.
They don't want. They're not serious about it. The Democrats are not serious about paying down the debt, which is the big issue out there. You're going to be robbing from the kids in the future because it feels good now not to do anything about it, and they want to demonize the Republicans who create.
Bernard, it's just not the
policies
case.
That create jobs.
The Republicans turned down a $4 trillion deal, getting 90% of what they wanted because they refused to raise taxes one damn penny on the wealthy.
Taxes shouldn't be raised on anyone right now. Those are people who invest in the economy. Those are people that hire people like me.
Well, you know what? At the end of this year, the taxes are going back to the 39% marginal rate because you turned down a much better deal.
They will not do anything about the debt. They won't do anything. You give them 4 more years.
We've already done $2 trillion. We're going to do trillions more.
You know what? Missing out of this whole conversation, when you talk about so-called wealthier individuals, we're missing the key element of this, which is small businesses. Yeah. We're not talking about Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, even though they're part of this conversation. We're talking about small businesses that file under the individual income tax code. And you know what? Those small businesses generate 70% of all jobs. And if their taxes are going up, guess what? You've got a more serious jobs crisis on your hands, Steve.
I'm opposed to raising taxes on small businesses.
By the way,
I agree with it more.
This just in, the debate is over, and Wolf Blitzer is not bleeding. He's not sucking his thumb. colleague was last
something
week.
is wrong, right?
Yes, everybody's whole and put together nice.
Well, now we don't have another Republican debate for a couple of weeks. We've got some caucuses coming up, but again, not another primary for a couple of weeks. So very interesting
Bernard,
to see
the Republican candidates are bleeding, though. That's who's bleeding right now. They look awful through this spectacle.
We got to leave it there. Guys, great to see you. Bernie, Jedediah, Steve, thank you so much.